From a compilation of articles by Rabbi, Michael-ben-Pesach, Portnaar. Which deeds are more pleasant? Etz Chaim, lesson 582, page 305, line 37. This is really great. Another principle we have to start applying in our daily lives. It's very important to always keep this in mind. This principle will help our spiritual work in different ways. Pay attention. Indirectly, we also learn a bit of Talmud. Try to be fully concentrated now because the true Torah is present here. If it goes in one ear and out the other, then it won't help you. That's not the way we learn Kabbalah. The salvation is here. If you open your heart, then you will be saved. There's only salvation for a heart that is filled with Torah. Pay attention to what he's telling us. I was amazed by the things he said in the previous lesson. It sounded weird to me. We have learned that Ibur was made for the purpose of Vak, of Ze'ah, so Katnut of Ze'ah by the Arichampin, while the second Ibur was made for the purpose of Mochin, of Ze'ah, so Gadlut of Ze'ah by Avi, a lower step. How is this possible? Also, I didn't know the answer, but I knew he wouldn't abandon us. Look how great he will explain this. You can't find this anywhere. You can learn the entire New Testament, but it won't help you because you don't know how to apply it. You don't know the grounds of it. Without Kabbalah, it won't help. The words will only move you in a philosophical way, but it won't cause corrections within you. While you can learn a great principle here that covers everything. Pay attention. Please refer to the written materials for the Hebrew text. And the reason is written in the Gemara. Aramaic for Talmud. And again. And the reason is as written in the Gemara, which is Aramaic for Talmud. Tornos Ropos, the wrongdoer, asked Rabbi Akiva. Tornos Ropos, a Greek or Roman, he was a great philosopher and ruler. He wasn't a Jew and asked a provocative question to the great Rabbi Akiva, about the Jewish mitzvah of circumcision to babies, who are only 8 days old. The circumcision is done by people in our world. A special person educated for this, and he uses a small knife. It's all done by people in our world. Which deeds are more pleasant? Those of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed is He, or those of flesh and blood, people of our world? A person is put on earth uncircumcised, and another person circumcises him. He wants to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is putting men in this world uncircumcised because it's His will. So why are people in our world circumcising babies? Are you making a person more beautiful than the Creator Himself? It's a very clever and logical question. This is still actual. The people are still wondering about this, etc. And his kavanah, meaning was why a person isn't created uncircumcised, and Rabbi Akiva gave him a proof illustration about the matter of chitim, wheat. Wheat is created by the name of the Blessed One. With other words, Hashem created it, and pasta are made by people of flesh and blood. From this we can see that there are things the Creator let pass, gave in the hands of people of flesh and blood. The lower ones, people of flesh and blood, to correct. He, Hashem, did not correct them. Therefore, don't be surprised with the Ibur that was made by the Arichampin for the purpose of the Vak, of Ze'ah, while the second Ibur was made by the Avi for the purpose of the Mochin, of Ze'ah. Mochin, Gar, Gadlut. Because there are things that are corrected by the lower ones, as said above. In this case by Avi and not by Arichampin. And in particular, as said before, the point of everything is to make sure the essence and the root of Ze'ah are brought out to make appear, which root and essence are the Vak. The state of Vak is the essence, the basis. It should be the same with us. not the states of Gadlut should be decisive for us. They come now and then. But you should spend the majority of your day in Katnut and be happy with it. So having nefesh, ruach, and a bit of neshama, vak of neshama, but no lights of gar, they will sometimes come and produce explosions within you, but we must return to the state of Katnut after that. We also see this in prayers. When one stands in the prayer Amidah, he comes to Gadlut, and this is the quintessence of prayer. After this one goes from Atzalut back to Asiyah. There are also parts that are important to pronounce after the Amidah. So one comes to the state of Katnut again. Nothing disappears in the spiritual. What you had achieved in the Amidah will remain with you the entire day. It won't go away. Nothing disappears in the spiritual. Before, when I was walking the traditional path, I went to the synagogue. I didn't know about Kabbalah then, and I was surprised, especially during the morning prayer, that people in the synagogue think that the Amidah is the most important part. And so after the Amidah, they immediately put off their tefillin and leave, while they have to continue praying to achieve Katnut again, because Katnut is the basis. With other words, it's important and not subject to change. While the Gadlut comes and goes, we can't stay in Gadlut. Back in the days, the old Hasidim, devout men, tried to persevere in their state of Gadlut, but it never worked, because that's not our nature. A person is not created to stay in Gadlut, and he also can't improve or refine it through his work. A person can correct some things, but other things not. In a prayer, it's impossible to stay in the state of Gadlut, to stay very close to Hashem and to experience Atzalut. A person is not made for Atzalut. He has to correct himself to rise to Atzalut, but he has to stay in this world with all his senses, which is the extension of Asiyah. He has to bring the light of Hashem to our world and not desire to rise to Atzalut. One should only desire for Atzalut to attract the light in order to correct himself and to bring the light of correction to the state of this world. This is very important. Through this, the true study distinguishes itself from the comedies of our world. They have different fantasies and imaginations of what they want to achieve. They think that rising high and that ascending is the essence of religion, what they call religion, while it's completely different, very subtle. We have to pull all the lights to our world, Katnut, and sometimes Gatlut. The world is made up heavy because there are laws of gravitation here. Fleeing from the heaviness of this world means fleeing from the true reality. All the psychic problems come, in general, because one is incapable and unwilling to cope with the heavy reality of every day. Hashem wanted this. It was His intention to give the heaviness to mankind. This is our number one priority, because angels don't have this heaviness. Therefore, Torah specialists say experiencing one moment in the world to come, or the state of Binah, is more beautiful than everything on earth in the lower world. But later on, they added that experiencing one moment in our world, in our heaviness, the reality of this world, is more beautiful than everything a person can experience in the world to come, because the heavy feeling of the gravitation force can't be experienced above. And when a person goes there, he will whine and scream, "Why didn't I accept everything I felt in this world like it was? How great would it be to experience that heavy feeling on earth without experiencing it as a burden?" It's worth the correction. Remember that a person is made this way, to experience the heaviness of this world. You have to adapt yourself with joy and pleasure to the reality which Hashem has put you in. Then there will be no place for sorrow and grief or other weird things a person experiences in this world, only because he refuses to accept his true existence like Hashem made him.